Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us in recognizing this milestone in history for the Philippines, 122 years of independence, and in celebrating Filipino culture and contributions in Alberta. We are joined this evening by my colleagues in government, Her Honor, the Honorable Lieutenant Governor of Alberta, Lois E. Mitchell, the Honorable Premier of Alberta, Jason Kenney, the Honorable Rick McIver, Minister of Transportation, Tani Yao, MLA for Fort McMurray, Wood Buffalo, the Honorable Jason Copping, Minister of Labor and Immigration, the Honorable Adriana LaGrange, Minister of Education, the Honorable Casey Madhu, Minister of Municipal Affairs, the Honorable Rajan Sani, Minister of Community and Social Services, the Honorable Rebecca Schultz, Minister of Children's Services, Todd Lowen, MLA for Peace Notley, Jackie Armstrong Hominick, MLA for Saskatchewan-Vegreville, Garth Roswell, MLA for Vermilion-Lloydminster Wainwright, Layla Goodridge, MLA for Fort McMurray Lac La Biche and the Parliamentary Secretary for the Francophonie, Mark Smith, MLA for Drayton Valley Devon, Matt Jones, MLA for Calgary Southeast, Mohammed Yassin, MLA for Calgary North and the Parliamentary Secretary of Immigration, Nathan Newdorf, MLA for Lethbridge East, and Whitney Isaac, MLA for Calgary Glenmore. Before we begin, I would like to invite Kit Bayel Pasagi to sing O Canada and Lupang Hinirang. She is an alumna of the world-renowned Philippine Madrigal Singers and is now a member of the Oran, a Kokopeli Choir, and Nuff Said. We are lucky to have her sing for us this evening. Please begin, Kit Bayel.
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Bayang magiliw, pelas ang silanganan, hanap ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyang ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig, di ka masisingil. Sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong bakaw, may dilagang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang kisap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagdidingding, ang bituin at araw na kailan pa may di magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng walhatid pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang ligaya ng pagmay mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Thank you so much for that beautiful, beautiful singing and leading us in both of our national anthems for our two countries. Our first speaker this evening is a very, very dear friend of mine, Her Honor, the Honorable Lois E. Mitchell, Lieutenant Governor of Alberta. Your Honor, I turn it over to you.
I'm so excited to share this very special day with you. I'm sorry that we can't be meeting in person, but it is great that we can still come together to mark Philippine Independence Day and to celebrate everything that our wonderful Filipino community contributes to our province. Filipino Albertans bring a tremendous spirit of energy, dedication, and innovation to work in a wide range of sectors. And your efforts are truly making a difference to the quality of life that we all enjoy. Our lives are also enriched by the beautiful Filipino culture and traditions that you share in communities across the province. It's a vibrant part of Alberta's cultural mosaic, and it's truly worth celebrating today and every day. Even today, our Prime Minister mentioned the encouraging spirit of the Philippine community in Calgary. He actually also mentioned about the Filipino wonderful organization, the Fiesta Filipino, who have helped over 500 families to date. And I know they also have shared their wonderful voices online to thousands of viewers because I've actually heard them. Fostering cultural understanding is more important than ever as we work together to keep Albertan moving forward, because our diversity is a great source of strength. I'm told that there's an old Filipino proverb that goes, "A broom is strong because its strands are tightly bound." That's a wonderful way to describe the power that comes from sharing our individual strength as we stand together as one. As Her Majesty the Queen's representative in Alberta, it is my pleasure to recognize and thank all members of the Filipino community for your valuable contribution to our province. I'd also like to thank the cultural leaders and the performers taking part in this celebration today. I'm looking forward to hearing from you this evening. Thank you for your work year-round to share the riches of the Philippine culture with us all. Finally, thank you to the Premier, to the Cabinet Ministers, and the MLAs for joining us, and of course, Minister here and her wonderful team for bringing us all together. Happy Philippine Independence Day. Let's enjoy this event and stay well.
Thank you so much, Your Honor. We so appreciate you taking the time to be with us today. Next, I'm so happy to announce our Honorable Premier Jason Kenney, who will provide remarks.
Thank you, Your Honor, very much for participating in this, and Minister, for organizing this, to everybody joining us across the province to celebrate Philippines Independence Day and Philippines Heritage Month here in Alberta. It's a chance for all of us who are not of Filipino origin to say thank you, to recognize the huge contribution that people of Filipino origin have been making to Alberta, especially in the last 20 years or so. The roots of the community go back before that, but of course the community has grown massively in the past 15 years or so. As you know, I was very proud as Canada's immigration minister to double the number of Filipino immigrants coming to Canada so that Philippines became, for the first time ever, Canada's largest source country of immigration. And so many of those hard-working newcomers chose Alberta as their new homes. And during these difficult times of the pandemic, we've really looked to people with the ethic of caring and the heart of compassion that characterizes Pinoy culture and the Filipino people. You know that so many of the healthcare aides and others who work in our nursing homes, our long-term care facilities, are people of Filipino origin who have been helping to take care of our seniors, of the most vulnerable, to keep them safe, to help us flatten the curve, and to help Alberta really win in the fight against COVID-19. Of course, there have been losses, and there will continue to be, and we have to be careful, which is why we're meeting virtually right now. And I know that for a community that loves getting together and having a good fiesta, having a great party, having that real sense of community, that these have been trying times, as they have been for all of us. But I just want to say that the richness of your community has done really so much in recent years to enliven Alberta. One of the many gifts that I love about the Filipino community is a tendency of newcomers to create new homes wherever they happen to go. And so many have ended up settling in smaller communities in rural Alberta. and staying there and revitalizing those towns and bringing kids back to the schools and people back to the churches and setting up Filipino stores and starting a small community right across the province, making a real difference in parts of the province that have been struggling with maintaining their population and their dynamism. So I also want to say that I'm very much looking forward to being the first Premier of Alberta to lead an official delegation, a trade mission to Philippines, in part to ensure that our modernized immigration programs are able to continue welcoming skilled and passionate people from Philippines. We were about to launch the new um, Alberta Advantage immigration strategy led by our immigration minister, Jason Copping, but then we had to postpone it because of the pandemic. But we'll be getting back to that hopefully later this year. Honestly, this year we'll probably end up with fewer newcomers than in a long time just because of the travel restrictions and everything else, the downturn in the economy. But once we get past this, and mark my words, we will get past this, we're going to need the talent of newcomers to help us continuing to build a prosperous Alberta economy. So I'm looking forward to getting your input on how we can do that. And hopefully some of you will be able to join me on a future Alberta Philippines trade and promotion visit. I'm hoping to do that next year in 2021. So Minister Hurt here, I want to thank you for organizing this, for giving us all an opportunity to say salamat po to everybody. Thank you for what you've done. And mabuhay Philippines, mabuhay Alberta. Have a great celebration.
Thank you so much, Premier. It's such a privilege to have you with us. We are actually now going to be joined by our very dear friend, the Honorable Rick McIver, Minister of Transportation. Minister McIver, we're looking forward to hearing from you.
Kumusta? I'm Rick McIver, Minister of Transportation and MLA for Calgary-Hays. It is an honor to join you in celebrating 122 years of Philippine independence. Mabuhay Philippines, mabuhay Canada. I wish you all well on this Independence Day, and I hope this Heritage Month is a big success. I'm proud of our strong Filipino community in Alberta, and this year, Albertans saw the impacts of the Filipino community spirit because of COVID-19. Many Filipino frontline workers were leading the fight against COVID-19. So I want to recognize you and say thank you. You have made huge contributions, not only this year, but every year to Alberta. I hope everybody finds a safe way to celebrate with family and friends on this important occasion. Salamat po.
Thank you so much, Minister McIver. Next, we are so excited to share a performance with you. This is Angelica Rose Cruz, and Angelica has been singing since she was 3 years old. Since then, she has accomplished absolutely amazing things in music. In 2015, she won as the grand champion in Singing Stars Church in Edmonton. In 2016, she competed in the World Championship of Performing Arts in Long Beach, California, representing Canada in the solo vocal category, where she won a silver. And today, she's provided a beautiful video recording of her performance for us to share.
Ang bayan kong Pilipinas, walang ng ginto't bulaklak, sakdal dilag, ang di magnasang makaalpas. Pilipinas kong minumutya, bugad ng luha ko't dalita. Aking adhika, makita kang sakdal. Bayan pa kayang sakdal dilag, ang di magnasang makaalpas. Pilipinas kong minumutya, bugad ng luha ko't dalita. Aking adhika, makita kang sakdalaya. Aking adhika, makita kang sakdalaya.
I don't know about the rest of you. I have goosebumps from that. That was amazing. I so hope that at some point in the future, we get to hear that live. That was absolutely magnificent. Wow, I'm completely taken away with that. Our next speaker is another dear friend of ours, the Consul General Zaldi Patron, our Consul General for the Republic of Philippines. The Philippines, as the Premier has said, has been an absolutely marvelous partner to Canada and to Alberta. And it is such an honor to have had the Consul General take the time to share some remarks with us on this occasion.
I am Consul General Zaldi Patron of the Philippine Consulate General in Calgary, and I am pleased to greet my fellow Filipinos here in Alberta, Canada, on the occasion of the 122nd anniversary of the proclamation of the Philippine independence. I am very grateful to Premier Jason Kenney, Cultural Minister Dila Ahir, and the Government of Alberta for honoring the Philippines and the Filipino Albertans during this online celebration of the Philippine independence. Over the years, the 175,000-strong Filipino community in Alberta has contributed tremendously to the economic progress and cultural diversity of this province. Through their hard work and values, the Filipinos have stood out in their places of work and places of residence. They are always welcome wherever they go. And they have chosen to remain here in Alberta despite the challenging times. Today, we see many Filipino Albertans serving as frontliners and essential workers in our ongoing battle against the COVID-19 pandemic, risking their lives and those of their families to keep this province going. They are working in our hospitals, long-term care facilities, clinics, and in various establishments producing our food and basic necessities. I thank them for their heroism, which reminds us of the great sacrifices of the Filipino heroes who, 122 years ago, defeated their Spanish colonizers after a long and hard-fought revolution so that we, the present generation, could enjoy the freedom and independence that we have today. There were Filipino heroes centuries ago, and there are Filipino heroes today. And many of them are right in our midst here in Alberta, Canada. To my fellow Filipinos, Happy Philippine Independence Day. Mabuhay ang Pilipinas. Mabuhay kayong lahat. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you so much, Consul General. It's absolutely wonderful that you could join us and give us your thoughts on this extremely important day. Our next performance will be from Hannah Adamson. Hannah is a wonderful performer and has competed in many, many singing competitions and performed in musicals like Emma and the Citadel Theater's Matilda. Thank you for sharing your talent with us, Hannah.
Paraiso, a place where a dying river ends. No birds dare fly over Paraiso. No space allows them to endure the smoke that screams the air, the grass that's never there. And if I could see a single bird, what a joy. I try to write some words and create a simple song to be heard by the rest of the world. I live in this land called Paraiso, in a house made of cardboard floors and walls. I learned to be free in Paraiso, free to claim anything I see. Imagine rags on my clothes, plastic bags for the cold, and if empty cans were all I have, what a joy. I never fight to take someone else's coins and live a fear like the rest of the boys. Paraiso, help me make a stand. Paraiso, take me by the hand. Paraiso, make the world understand that if I could see a single bird, what a joy. This tired and hungry land could expect some truth and hope and respect from the rest of the world. And if empty cans were all I had, what a joy. I never fight to take someone else's coins and live with fear like the rest of the boys. Paraiso, help me make a stand. Paraiso, take me by the hand. Paraiso, and make the world understand that if I could see a single bird, what a joy. This tired and hungry land could expect some truth and hope and respect from the rest of the world. Paraiso, help me make a stand. Paraiso, take me by the hand. Paraiso, make the world understand that if I could see a single bird, what a joy. This tired and hungry land could expect some truth and hope and respect from the rest. That if I could see a single bird, what a joy. This tired and hungry land could expect some truth and hope and respect from the rest of the world.
Oh, wow. That actually brought a tear to my eye. That was absolutely stunning. Again, I can't wait to see this beautiful young woman in person when we all get together the next time. Our next speaker is a very, very dear friend of mine, Marjorie Newman. And Marjorie was born in the Philippines and chose to immigrate to Canada. After her journey, she decided to help Filipinos and people from other cultures reunite with their families as a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. Many of you actually will know her because she's an amazing volunteer on the Council of Edmonton Filipino Associations and the Philippine Business Society of Alberta. Marjorie, we're so honored to have you. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Minister Ahir, for that kind introduction. Lieutenant Governor General of Alberta, Her Honor, Honorable Louise Mitchell, Premier of Alberta, the Honorable Jason Kenney, Minister of Culture, Multiculturalism, and Status of Women, the Honorable Leila Ahir, distinguished members of the Legislative Assembly of Alberta, ladies and gentlemen, mga kababayan, good evening, magandang gabi po. The Declaration of Independence is one of the most important milestones in Philippine history. Since 1898, Filipinos all over the world come together to commemorate the Declaration of Philippine Independence every year in June. This is our way of honoring the men and women who have fought for the independence and remembering our roots as well. 2 years ago, the government of Alberta declared the month of June as Philippine Heritage Month. This June 2nd, I was humbled and honored to take part in raising the Philippine flag at the Alberta Legislature, spearheaded by Minister Leila Ahir. This was a generous gesture acknowledging the heritage of more than 175,000 Filipinos who have now made Alberta their home. As well, this recognizes the contributions that the Filipino community has made in the progress and development of the province. This contribution is seen even today. During the ongoing COVID pandemic, many Filipinos are currently working as frontline workers in the healthcare sector and in essential services. Their daily sacrifice, dedication, and hard work in doing their duties is admirable and what I would call the modern day heroes. In the Philippines, we have a term called the Bayanihan spirit. In light of the pandemic, many kababayans were affected. The contributions that I have seen both from Filipino individuals and various Filipino organizations are example of what the Bayanihan spirit is. In particular, many of our Filipino kababayans were affected both economically and physically by the pandemic in Cargill. These Filipinos and their families were unable to work and unable to grab their daily necessities for essential living. However, I am proud to say that the Filipino community, with the excellent leadership and support of the government of Alberta, was quick to respond to the needs of our fellow kababayans. The efforts of the individuals and the organizations who organized food drives, delivered food to our fellow kababayans, especially in Cargill, delivering groceries to seniors, driving seniors to grocery stores, conducting information sessions to small business owners and more are some examples of the Bayanihan spirit that is shown in the small daily act that show our desire to help one another. The Bayanihan spirit that I've seen during the pandemic shows us that in times of need, as a community, we recognize that which unites us more than all the other aspects that divide us. This is the single most important factor that have kept Filipinos united wherever we migrate and whatever conditions we may face. To all my kababayans who are celebrating the Philippine Independence Day, let us commemorate those who have dedicated their lives in fighting for our independence and our nation. And let us cultivate that Bayanihan spirit, the spirit that unites us wherever we are, and the spirit that compels us to uphold our values as Filipinos and our call to charity to one another and to our greater community. Mabuhay ang mga Pilipino, mabuhay ang Alberta. Maraming salamat po.
Marjorie, I'm sending you so much love and big hugs and kisses. Thank you so much for that beautiful speech. And thank you for teaching us about the Bayanan spirit. It is something that I think that we can take with us and learn as we go forward. And we know the work that you've done in your community and how it was that you reached out to help during this crisis. And we are sending so much love and compassion to the community. Thank you so, so much. Next, I would like to bring forward a very dear friend of mine, Tanny Yao, the MLA for Fort McMurray, Wood Buffalo. Tanny, you are up, my friend.
Thank you so much, Minister here. And to everybody out there, kamusta. I also want to say a big hello to all of my colleagues from our government who are joining us here today. I just want to say it's a pleasure to join our Filipino community from across Alberta as we recognize the Declaration of Independence. It's a milestone in Filipino pride and identity. My own dad, he immigrated from the Philippines after the Second World War, and the whole family had actually pitched in to send him to medical school in North America. And afterwards, he supported them by sending money back to the Philippines. And I think that's something that all Filipinos can relate to, is that they work hard and they sacrifice. Filipinos, you know, like everyone out there, I'm sure can relate. They commonly work multiple jobs and then they proceed to send all that money home. And yet they're still able to balance their families and their church in there. And, you know, Filipinos have truly integrated so well into our society and have become anchors in so many community groups and other social profits. And for that, I am proud. My family's now made Alberta its home, and Alberta has given us so much opportunity, more than we could ever have dreamed of. It is my honor to represent my heritage and my community as an MLA, and to be part of this government's commitment to ensuring Alberta is a place where all people are welcomed and can succeed. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tanny. So wonderful to see you, and thank you for joining us. We have one more incredible performance. You're going to be blown away by this one. Not that we've already not been blown away by all the amazing singers. This is truly spectacular. We have the Coro Filipino Choir. I'm sure many of you know who they are because they are one of Edmonton's leading Filipino show choirs. And they perform classic contemporary Tagalog songs as well as songs from many other cultures. So let's see this video. That was absolutely phenomenal. Can you believe how they are able to get those beautiful harmonies together, recording them all in their own home? I mean, it just goes to show you that even in all of this crisis and everything that's been happening, the incredible ways that people have been able to reach out to each other, it's just unbelievably moving, isn't it? And I think that we need to take a moment to reflect on this day in 1898. The Philippines declared independence from Spain. Our government joins your beautiful community, the Filipino people around the world, to celebrate this incredible anniversary. Every June, Alberta celebrates Filipino culture and recognizes this incredible community's contributions to our culture, our economy, and our collective society. Some of the first Filipino immigrants to Alberta, they came as nurses and caregivers. Many members of this community continue to work in these fields, and we've heard about this evening, in the front lines, up there with all of these people giving and caring and loving through all of this difficulty. I would like to take a moment to say a special thank you to those who have made sacrifices, huge sacrifices, to keep Albertans safe and healthy. Earlier this month, Marjorie was mentioning that we raised the flag together. Marjorie, to stand with you that day with the Filipino flag at the legislature was one of the biggest privileges of my life. And thank you so much for allowing me the privilege to be with you. You brought a 50-pound cake with you that we had at the legislature. It was just beautiful and just so unbelievably thoughtful. And I don't know if you know this, but I was in the caravan earlier today in Calgary with the Fiesta Filipino, and I was so honored. They asked me to sing a song by Ms. Corrales, Dahil Sayo. And it's beautiful, and I was so honored to be asked. And but more than that, to see all of these families come together and in vehicles, figure out a way to celebrate together this incredible, incredible anniversary. And to hear people honking for us as we gave our speeches, it was really overwhelming and beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing these gorgeous traditions and culture and heritage and food and kindness and loving and family. And it's so deeply woven into the tapestry of our magnificent province. I'm so sorry that we can't hold these festivals together this year, but we will always remember how we handled this year, and next year will be a celebration like nobody's business, right? We'll be ready to get together and just go all out. The dance and the food and the art and the music and the rain like last year. Do you remember how soaked we got? It was freezing, but totally worth it because warm hearts were all around us. This is a starting point for deeper conversations. We know that there has been prevalent racism and horrible bigotry and discrimination. We will fight this together. We will shine deep lights into this, and we will not ever let racism prevail in our beautiful province, our country, and the world. This is our commitment that this will not continue, and we will make sure to collectively hold hands together and make sure that this racism is gone. The past few months have been very difficult, as the Premier had said, but this community has made life better for all Albertans, and we thank you from the bottom of our heart. We're looking forward to continuing to build our province together, and I'm so excited. I hope I get to go on this trip to the Philippines with the Premier and the rest of you, and continue to build a stronger province, a resilient province, a more beautiful province, largely in part because of the Philippine community. This concludes our program for the evening. Thank you so much for all the very special speakers that came today. Thank you to Premier Kenny, to my dear friend, the Lieutenant Governor, and Minister McIver, and MLA Yao. Thank you so much. To our speakers and performers in the Filipino community, and Consul General Zaldi Patron, Marjorie Newman, Kaiba Yel Pasagi, Hannah Adamson, Angelica Rose Cruz, and the Coro Filipino Choir. Thank you as well. I know you probably realize this, but there's an entire group of people that work behind the scenes to make an event like this happen. Thank you so much to our ministry, to the government, people who make this event happen. And again, a final deep, deep love to the Filipino community. Thank you for allowing us in government to share this recognition with you, to enjoy the 122nd anniversary of Philippine independence with you. I hope your family stays safe and healthy and happy. Mabuhay.